booster. All right. I'm calling Village Board of Trustees meeting for February 8th, 2022 to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Brochus?
Here.
Trustee Thuzius?
Here.
Trustee Brown?
Here.
Trustee Polakowski?
Here.
Trustee Hartman?
Here.
Trustee Kellwater? Here. President Linko?
Here. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we're at public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone to address the village board on any issue. Please observe the time limit of 3 minutes. While the village board encourages input from residents, it may not discuss or act on any issue that is not duly noticed on the agenda. Do we have anybody that would like to speak?
If there's anybody on Zoom currently that would like to speak during public comment, please raise your hand. Don't see anybody. I did, however, receive an email today that I'll read during public comment here. It's from Eric and Joanna Reinelt from 1991 Lewis Street here in Cross Plains. We are writing to express our displeasure with the new required garbage containers being furnished this month by Town and Country Sanitation. Our house has a standard 2-car garage and the 95-gallon size containers are too large. We have 2 average size cars, and with our current 55-gallon container, standard size, purchased from Menards, fits fine. The new 95-gallon container is too wide, even turned the narrow way, leaving only 5-inch space between it and the car doors. We will not be able to reach over one container to deposit into the other. We will request from Town and Country a 65-gallon garbage toter, which is still larger than the current container. We do not want to have these unsightly containers sitting outside next to our driveway exposed to weather and high winds. We want to request 2 65-gallon containers from Town and Country as a solution to this situation we find ourselves in. We are requesting also that the members of the board support this request with Town and Country and those of other Cross Plains residents who may find they are facing a similar problem. If only the garbage toter is available to us in a 65-gallon size, we would appreciate another suggestion from the board to reduce the size of the recycling toter. We thank you and the board for your consideration and any help or suggestions you can give us.
All righty, thank you. Report of village officers. I have nothing for tonight. Vice President? No. Other trustees? Village administrator?
The only thing I really have is the garbage toters did go out. Many of you may have received the 95-gallon toter, as that's the first round of what Town and Country is doing. I did meet with Doug today from Town and Country, along with one of the members of the condominiums down here. I feel like we have a good solution for them. They had a lot of questions about the toters, the sizes, the number of them. And I feel like Doug was able to kind of work through that and find a better solution for them. So they will all receive the smaller garbage toter once those begin coming around next week. And they'll receive 2 2-yard recycling containers, the larger ones, on their property for them to use, which will be part of the entire condo association rather than just individually having their own recycling toters. So that, and that's all I have for you.
All right, thank you. Any other reports? All right, we'll go to general business. Number 1, discussion and possible action regarding an ordinance to amend Chapter 84 of the Village Zoning Code regarding garage width. Just to let you know, last night, as it stated in here, it passed the Plan Commission as stated. So what I'd like to do is have discussion first and then do a motion. So concerns, comments on this topic? Michael?
I have no issue with the 55 or the 50% facade, but I think we should consider leaving in the maximum width clause and with leaving no more than 3 garage doors, the maximum width clause could be upgraded from 36 to 42 feet though, which would allow 3 14-foot stalls in the garage. I say this, I mean, the 50% seems like it's in order to provide on 60-foot lots inside SR5s, provide a 23-foot garage. Seems like it has to happen. I just am concerned about the elimination of the maximum because when you start to get into larger lots, if we consider the possibility for the Sundance development going in, some of those lot widths up there are 115 feet to 130 feet, which can allow for some pretty large garages on 115 foot, and an SR5 would give a maximum house size of 95 feet. Someone could place a 47.5-foot garage on it with a 47.5-foot wide house if they wanted to. I'm just saying that that's an awfully large garage.
All right, so I just wanted, so your recommendation that you want to throw up there is 50%, but move the maximum to 42 feet.
Yes, leaving it at a maximum.
The current one suggests eliminating the 36-foot maximum width.
Right.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
For the reasons stated.
Other people's thoughts? Okay, I have Bill.
Actually, I like that idea. Because I think you can have, you get a huge lot with a large house, you could have just an enormous garage. So I kind of like what Mike presented.
Okay, Andy?
Yeah, I guess I just want to clarify what's the issue we're having with large garages? That they're just unsightly for the village? Is that the general vibe that we're getting around here?
Well, the clarification is currently our code says that it can't be more than 40% of the face of the house. We're having smaller lots. So to make that 40%, people have to have a substandard 2-car garage. So that's what kind of does the SR5. It's not so much we weren't worried about the bigger lot. It was the smaller lots that we weren't able to fit. And as an example, the Meridian subdivision that we have out here across from the school, none of them, they're all over the 40%. So what we're trying to do is bring our code up to what is kind of the standard right now. And if you look at a lot of 3-car garages that we have out there, they're definitely over the 40% on probably 80% of them. So we're trying to make it the zoning code, acceptable. So my big thing on this is making sure just because people can't afford a big house, they still can have a standard 2-car garage. Because I think 1-car garages are just not functional. Who does that anymore? So that's mine. I think the concern that people are having with the current one is they eliminated the maximum. So it would be 50% across the board. So if you're, you got a long house, you could have a very long garage. And I think the idea is to keep garages somewhat proportional to the house. So it's not just all garage from street view. So I think that's where they're looking at is just making that maximum of 42 feet.
Okay.
Anybody else? So if I'm hearing the motion, I'm just going to throw it would be that we change the ordinance to 50% with a maximum of 42 feet.
And retaining the no more than 3 garages.
Oh, okay.
That's how it's written now. So
okay.
4-car garages.
But were they saying to change that?
They were just saying to strike that entire passage. And that was, it was a 36 feet and no more than 3 garages.
Gotcha.
It's all the same.
Okay.
It's the same sentence. It was just completely being removed.
So 42 feet, 3 garage doors, 50%.
Yeah, no more than 3
Right.
garages.
Those are the elements. All right. Is everybody comfortable with that?
I'm more comfortable with what the planning commission proposed as.
All right. So what the planning would do is eliminate the 36, 50% across the board.
And no maximum for garage doors.
Right. Andy?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's your lot, it's your land. I mean, if you have a lot of extracurricular vehicles that you'd like to store, you want to do something creative with your space, woodwork, I don't know. I'm not understanding why we want to have garages and, well, we want to regulate the size of people's garages and how they look from facing the street as far as like the size and how many doors. I don't know. I like to give maybe the residents a little bit more say in how they manage their own property, I guess.
All right. Kevin?
No comment. I don't know. It's fine.
What,
I don't feel strongly one way or another, whether it's what the plan commission proposed or what the amendment that Michael proposed. Yeah, I don't feel strongly.
Judy?
I actually didn't support last night's, but I like Michael's proposal. I do like that cleaning up. So it's not a blanket. I mean, for the smaller houses that can do what they need, but for the bigger houses that won't be too good. So I like mine. I could support.
All right. So why don't we, Michael, why don't you go ahead and make your motion? I'll just see how this goes.
Okay. A motion to amend section 8465G4A to replace the 40% to 50% of the width of the ground floor facade, and in section D of that same section to change 36 feet to 42.
And no more than 2.
And no more than 3 garage doors, but that's what it is.
Okay, gotcha. All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, discussion. All right, let's do a roll call vote, please.
Trustee Brochus,
Yes.
trustee Kuzia,
Yes.
trustee Brunner,
No.
trustee Palmkowski,
Yeah.
trustee Hartman,
No.
trustee Calhoun,
Yes.
president Langfeld.
Yes. Motion carries. All right. We're at number 2, discussion and possible action regarding the school resource officer program agreement between the Village of Cross Plains and the Middleton Cross Plains School District. This is basically the same agreement that we signed the last couple of years. The changes this year is we put in clarified language on situations like what happened with the pandemic. So we still get paid. And then we remove parts of the job description and just refer to whatever the job description, current job description, they must follow. So those were the 2 changes to it. This has passed the Middleton Cross Plains School District Board.
Would you like a motion?
Yes.
I will make a motion to approve as presented.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and second. Discussion. Kevin?
I'm just wondering if Chief had anything to say.
Oh, okay.
Any comments on it? I'd like to hear what he has.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
So no real comments. The contract looks pretty consistent to what we had in the past. I like the language to also include that we would continue to get paid, even though, if we were to go into a pandemic. The reason for the adjustment of the language to include job description language to kind of just fit whatever is at the current times is because the job description could change several times. And so in order to not affect the program, this makes the most sense. We are working with the school district to have Roger go to some of the feeder schools. And we still don't know exactly what that is going to look like. So this makes most sense. We did have a good conversation about it, and it just makes the most sense.
Andy?
Yeah, this is a question for Chief as well. I'm referring to section 8 subpoint A, which is Chief of Police will request from each school principal feedback on the performance of the SRO to be included in their annual evaluation. The evaluation shall be in a formal mutually agreed upon by the district and the Chief of Police. Have you been doing those in the past? Did you do that in the last year, Chief?
No, I don't think they didn't have an evaluation process that was identified as part of this whole study, and just to make sure that the right person is in the right role, and that we are meeting regularly to how can we help the SRO be more successful with students and those kind of things. The actual rubric of the evaluation tool is still being kind of ironed out to see what we want it to actually look like, because it's not just about evaluating the SRO, but it's evaluating the program in and of itself. So I think that there's some of those things that still need to be ironed out. We do have a good start on it, and I do believe it'll be completed here by the end of the year. There is some things that we want to have tweaked. We are part of so I'm working as part of a group to make sure that this evaluation process is fair and something that we can accomplish, along with several community members and people from the district, and also Middleton Police Department. So all those things are kind of part of this whole process.
Follow-up question to that, Chief. Is there any students involved in the process of determining the review process for SROs and feedback on them?
That has been brought up, and I do believe that will be a part of the process, because we do want to hear from the students, especially at the high school level.
And then one more, sorry. Approval of this contract would then mean that next year you would be conducting a review of the SRO program at Glacier?
I don't think so. I think that falls under the school district, and I think they already have kind of a idea of when they want to do that. And I thought they threw out a year of 2025 to kind of have some time to see how this is working, but that would probably be started through the school district more than us as police departments. We, as the partners with them, will evaluate our staff and evaluate the program here, within our jurisdiction. Just so you're aware, since taking over in 2020, I've had multiple meetings with Park and with Glacier Creek, and they absolutely love the SRO. They love the SRO program. So I haven't had anything negative with regards to that. But again, we want to make sure it's vetted through multiple sources.
Thanks. Yeah, I just say that because it reads verbatim in section 8A that the chief of police will request feedback from the district, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep. And so we're working through that evaluation, because for instance, I don't believe that feedback should necessarily just come from the principal, but from the actual staff and teachers that the SRO is working with, especially that he is in their classes, teaching classes, he's reading to the students, he's involved in other facets which might not make it to the principal himself. So we need to probably capture that evaluation at the foundation of the program, which is, who he's dealing with on a day-to-day basis. He may not see the principal every day. I mean, maybe in the hallway, but, and it's only what the principal may hear, or if somebody has something to say. But I think that's part of the evaluation process, is to get all of those that he's actually having contact with involved in that process.
And then my last question is, who is the current officer that is the SRO representative at Glacier, and how do you determine the selection of that particular officer to serve in the school capacity? So
that appointment or that selection was made prior to my time here. And that officer is Officer Roger Cyber. He's been in place since the program started here in Cross Plains. He's the one that has received all the national training and the state required training. He's the one that has all of that. So that was chosen before my time. There is a talk about having a period of, okay, when do we pull him out of the schools? When would it be time to get someone else in? Places like Middleton is a little easier because you do have a lot of fluctuation. You've got officers coming in and out, and they're a lot bigger. With us, it would be a lot harder to do that because, you know, let's just say if we had a three-year commitment, you know, in 12 years time, 4 of our officers would have been an SRO. So it doesn't quite fit the mold for a small department like ourselves. So right now the selection is that. I also captured in part of this whole process that none of this was laid out in the union contract, which should definitely be laid out, but we are in a negotiation year. So I think this will be the proper time to iron that out within the union contract, to kind of spell it out, how you would identify who's going to take that position. Let's say Roger vacates that position. We will probably have some retirements within the next 2-3 years. Roger may choose to not want to be the SRO any longer. And so how are we going to fill that spot, and what the process will be? So that will be something that I'll be working with the union to make sure that it's fair and everybody gets an opportunity at it based on their training and experience.
All right, thank you very much.
Good. Anybody else? All right, let's do a roll call vote, please.
Trustee Brunner.
Yes.
Trustee Paul Mikowski.
Yes.
Trustee Hartman.
Yeah.
Trustee Calvater.
Yes.
Trustee Brogan.
Yes.
Trustee Tuesday.
Yes.
President Lincoln.
Yes. All right. Number 3, discussion and possible action on gateway to the driftless area letter of support to Dane County. I can speak on that. We met with, Bill and I met with Dave Rip the week before Bill left. And what this letter is doing is trying to get this gateway to the driftless trail higher up on Dane County's list, parks list. So there's more funding, more resources put towards it. So they're asking for a letter of support on us wanting this trail and how important it is to our area. So this is basically a letter to the chair of the Dane County Parks Commission to try to move this project up the priority ladder. Bill.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve this letter to the Dane County Parks Chairman, Dave Rep, to proceed to establish a project partnership with the Gateway to the Driftless for the purpose of expediting development of Dane County Park Trail between Middleton, Maysville, and Maysville and Wisconsin River.
All right. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right. Discussion. Bill?
So this is something we've been working at for quite some time, right? And I don't know, is this, I know we're trying to kind of push this up within Dane County, but is this different than what Bill was kind of seated on, Bill Chang was seated on with the driftless, or the gateway group?
No, he was still on the board, and there's still a spot for it, and probably our new administrator would be on that.
Okay.
This is just one of the projects that they're working on to try. They've had a lot of communication with Dane County, and right now this is lower on the list, so the resources and money are going to other projects. So they're still working on other things too, you know, the trail and the management, and they're working a lot with Sauk County, because it's Dane County and Sauk County that are putting that bridge across the river. So this is just something to kind of kickstart it, to try to get where there'll be more resources, money, and then we'll be able to move more.
Okay.
That's really the intent of it. You can see the villages that are on it.
Is this the continuation or the same as the neighbor track? That was supposed to go along the highway function corridor.
I think it is. I think it, yeah. Any other questions? All right, All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. So moved. Future agenda items. All right, do I have a motion to go into closed session?
So,
Second. I have a motion and second. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Calvater.
yes.
Trustee Brochus.
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski.
Yes.
Trustee Tuesday.
Yes.
Trustee Brunner.
Yes.
Trustee Hartman.
Yes.
President Lingo.
Yeah. One at a time, please. Are we back?
Yep,
Recording?
yep, there we go.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Make a motion that we accept the 4 candidates for interviewing on February 19th.
That's fine.
That's fine.
I'll second that. All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. So moved. Very good. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All right, a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.